Well, hello, everybody. Hope everybody's having a good Wellness Wednesday. Let's just give it just a minute. Let some folks tune in here. We'll give them just a moment. Like I said, I hope everybody's having a good Wellness Wednesday, and thank you for being here. This is Practicing the Pause with Phil. Practicing the Pause with Phil. Uh, I'm Philip Boyce. I am a peer navigator at the R3 Recovery Center here in Wilkesboro, and we are excited that you have tuned in to look at your own self care and practice wellness. And if this is your first time tuning in, then you might not know exactly what we do here. We talk a little bit about wellness, and you might not be familiar with what that is. And I hope to go over a little bit more about wellness, what that exactly is, and how we can practice that in our life today. Like I said, this is Practicing the Pause with Phil, and I'm glad that you're here. And what we like to do to begin with is we like to stay true to the name, like I like to say, and that is to practice the pause. Practice the pause. We often have such busy lives. We can often be in this hurried state, and sometimes we just need a reminder just to slow down, and to practice the pause. How's your day going? Do you find yourself constantly busy, constantly doing something, constantly in motion, constantly hurried? Are you feeling stressed, anxious? I find that practicing the pause and how we like to do that is by a breathing technique. I find that when I can do that, when I can slow myself down, it feels like I can recenter myself, regain balance. And so, like I said, we like to stay true to the name here, practicing the pause. And how I like to do that is with a mindfulness technique, a breathing exercise I like to do. And I'd like to invite you all just to pause with me, just to practice this pause with me for the next few minutes. And to do that, if you can sit up tall. If you're sitting in a chair, sit up tall there, sit up tall, and make sure you find a quiet place, that you can be free of distractions, be free from any distractions. Uh, and take just a moment to do that, whether it's silencing a cell phone, maybe it's shutting a door. Find an area where you can sit comfortably and be free from distractions. Uh, Often I have to create the environment that I want, and I've expressed this in the past. When I open up this class on practicing the pause, is I like to create that environment. And how I do that is I'll turn on some meditation music, some nice, quiet, relaxing music. I have that going in the background. I like to light a candle, some aroma, get some aromatherapy. And I like to also pour a glass of tea, a cup of warm tea. I've got different teas that helps me to relax, to get into that state that I want to be in. And I want to be in this relaxed state right now to be able to practice the pause. And to do that, we want to sit up tall. We want to be in a quiet environment, free from distractions. And so I hope that you've taken just a moment now to be able to do that. Uh, you have intentionally set aside this time to be here and to practice the pause, to look after your own self care. Nobody's going to do it for you, unfortunately. Nobody's going to make sure that you're doing what you need to do for your own self care. A lot of times people are making demands from us, right? People want things from us. They want us to do certain things for them or be at a certain place. And so we really need to set aside a time, to intentionally set aside a time that we can practice the pause. And I'm here to help you to do that. I'm going to do all I can to come alongside you and to support you and say, hey, you need to practice self-care, that you can just take this time out to do that. Are you having one of those days where you feel hurried and man, you're so grateful? Wow, yes, I need to practice the pause. Yes, I need to look after my self-care. Yes, I need to be free of distractions and just take this time for myself. Are you having one of those days? Anybody ever been there before where it feels like you're just constantly in a rush? There's so much going on, right? And so if we can just intentionally set this aside, this time to practice the pause, I think your mind, body, and soul will thank you for it. I do. I do. So let's practice the pause together. Hopefully, we've got some folks tuning in now, and they want to do the same thing. They say, "Yes, I want to learn more about my wellness and practice self care." And I'm glad that you're here to do that. And we like to practice the pause here. We like to stay true to the name, and to do that, we want to begin with a breathing exercise. So, hope that you're sitting up tall. You're sitting and up tall, upright. That you are free from any distractions, and that you're ready to do this. Let's practice the pause together. And to do that, we want to begin by breathing. Breathing. Let's be mindful of our breath. Let's breathe in together slowly. Let's breathe in slowly and evenly in and then out. In through your nose, slowly out through your mouth. Let's do that again. Breathe slowly in through your nose, out through your mouth. Be mindful of your breath. Let's do it again. Slowly in through the nose, out through the mouth. And know that you don't have to be anywhere else but here in the present. Here in the present, being mindful of your breath. Breathing again slowly in through your nose. Release out through your mouth. You know, a lot of times when I breathe in, I like to breathe in goodness. I like to breathe in, positive energy, and release that stress when I exhale. To breathe in, knowing that you're in a good place, right? You're relaxed, you're comfortable. You don't have anything pressing against you. All those other things can be put to the side for now. Right now, you are concentrated on your own wellness. You're practicing self care. In, you're safe, relaxed. Out, release that stress. Release the stress of the day. Let's breathe in again. Breathe in slowly and evenly in, and then release and exhale out through your mouth. Let your energy settle by anchoring your attention to the breath. I want you to soften your shoulders. You feel tense, you feel stressed. I want you to try to soften your shoulders. Let's just get relaxed here. Soften your shoulders. What about your stomach? Do you feel any tightness in your stomach? Be mindful of your breath, and just tell yourself, I'm here in a safe place and I can relax. Right now, I'm taking time out. I'm taking a time out for my self care. Everything else can be put to the side. Right now, I'm practicing my own self care. I'm being kind to myself. I'm being loving to myself by taking this time out, by practicing the pause. And so, feel that relaxation. Feel it go all the way through your body. First, starting with your neck and shoulders. You feel relaxed. You're feeling more and more relaxed there in your neck and your shoulders. Feel it go down through your body, through your belly and your thighs. Continue with your breath. Slowly in and then release. Watch the breath with a sense of loving awe. You're being kind to yourself. You're practicing the pause. You're practicing self care. Breathe in and then breathe out. Feel the gentle rise and fall of the body as the body breathes itself. And let yourself drop into a state of being rather than doing. We're human beings. We need to be present here in the moment, not our minds racing to what things that we need to get done, their chores and activities, but being present right here. We are human beings, not human doings. So let yourself drop into a state of being rather than doing. Right here, right now, just present with the breath. Again, be mindful of your breath. In and out. And it might even help you to relax by even shutting your eyes and just focusing on your breath. Be mindful of your breath. Slowly in and out. And sometimes when I shut my eyes, my visual senses, so I'm not just looking around. I'm being mindful of my breath. Sometimes my other senses will be enhanced, right? So I might pick up some of the senses or smells in the room. For instance, I smell this candle that I have right here next to me when I shut my eyes there. Just go back to your breath. We want to stay with our breath. Stay with your breath. It'll help you to be grounded and centered and be present in the moment. And so if your mind starts racing, just go back to your breath. Back to your breath. And as you watch your breath, of course, your thoughts will arise. The mind is energy, and it seems like it's always at play. Think of your mind like a little kid, always at play. It's energy, and it's always at play. And so today, as you are relaxing, you might notice some of these thoughts, but just watch them as from a distance. Notice that you're not your thoughts, but you're a witness of these thoughts. There's so much power there. So powerful that you're not your thoughts, but a witness of these thoughts. It can help to visualize your thoughts as you're breathing, as these thoughts might come. You can visualize these thoughts as clouds or bubbles. And so as thoughts arise, as they float up and into our awareness, if left alone, it will float on by. It will dissipate or burst. And I've used the example before in the past of thoughts as like dead leaves floating down a river. You're just watching them go by. And so as you're trying to settle down, as you're trying to quiet yourself and be in this relaxing state, these thoughts will arise, but don't try to make a story out of them. So if you're thinking about what you have to do next, don't follow that into a narrative. Don't make a story out of it. Notice the thoughts there and then let it slowly go on by and then come back to your breath. If we stay with our breath, it will help us to regain and be back here in the present. And our minds will wander, won't they? And so if we can continually go back to our breath, it'll help us to stay present where we want to be. We want to be mindful in the here and the now. So stay anchored to your breath as you play with awareness of this process, present with breath. Be aware of thought clouds or thought bubbles that arise. And like clouds, like bubbles, understand that these thoughts are not solid, they're not fixed. They take shape and they break apart. They are continuously changing shape, blown by the wind. They come and they go. We cannot grasp a cloud or at a bubble, and neither is there any point in grasping to these thoughts. So just let them be, like that dead leaf going down a stream. Just let it flow on by. Come back to your breath. Remain aware of the breath as the thoughts do their thing. Avoid chasing, following, or attaching to the thought. Avoid trying to stop thoughts or push them away. I've heard many times people try to meditate and they say, I can't, they can't stop thinking. Of course you can't. Your mind is energy. It's going to be at play. The point of meditation is not to not think. It's to be present, to just come back. And that's why the breath is so fundamental. It's foundational. We come back to our breath. So those thoughts will come. They'll come. Let's go back to our thoughts. To our breathing. Let's go back to our breathing. Breathe in and slowly release. Avoid chasing, following, or attaching to thought. Avoid trying to stop thoughts or push them away. Remain aware of the breath, aware of the state of being and not doing, aware of thoughts but not thinking. Breathe in, slowly exhale through your mouth. Practice lovingly allowing your thoughts to shift, to change, and to flow. Nothing to fight against, nothing to stop. Love your thoughts, and at the same time, let them go. Remain present right here and right now with your breath. Breathe in, breathe out. Recall that you are not your thoughts, but their witness. Look upon each thought with curiosity or awe, but again and again, anchor back to the breath. Breathe awareness, present with breath. The mind is energy, and energy is always at play. It's up to you to choose what type of energy you'd like to invite in. And then simply let the rest go. Breathe in and breathe out, identifying with the energy of stability, even breath, steadiness, peacefulness, and ease. And I hope that exercise there, as you might be slowly coming back to awareness, I hope that that's practice there have been beneficial to you, that you are feeling more relaxed now, more centered, more grounded. And don't let that go. All right, let's be present right here and right now. Let's be relaxed and let's learn some about wellness, about creating a healthier life. Today, as a guide to wellness, I want to go over this guide to wellness, a step-by-step guide to wellness. There's going to be some activities in here today, so I hope that maybe you've got something that you can write on, a pen and paper at hand, because I'd like to talk a little bit more about wellness, what that means, and why are we discussing wellness? What's the purpose? Why the emphasis on wellness? Well, here at the Recovery Center, the R3 Recovery Center, we follow SAMHSA's principles, and they have a step-by-step guide to wellness, and they have what's called a wellness initiative. A wellness initiative. Let's read this here together. Here, SAMHSA's wellness initiative. If you're not sure what SAMHSA is, SAMHSA stands for the Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Administration. And they have this wellness initiative that envisions a future in which people with mental or substance use problems pursue health, happiness, recovery, and a full and satisfying life in the community. All those things sound wonderful, don't they? This uh, vision for the future. And it's a pursuit. Notice that it's people with mental or substance use problems pursue. It's a pursuit. We pursue health, happiness, recovery, and a full and satisfying life in the community. You know, pursuit is to go after. It's an action. It's an action of seeking. It's something that we have to go after. It's this conscious choice. Just like when I opened up today, is intentionally setting aside a time to practice self care. And I said that no one else can do it for you. This is a pursuit that we all, it's a personal pursuit that we all have to undergo. And this is what SAMHSA's Wellness Initiative envisions. It's this future, a future where people with mental or substance use problems pursue health, happiness, recovery, and a full, satisfying life in the community. And so maybe you're tuning in today and you're one of those folks there who has these challenges, right? And so I can ask you the question, what are you doing to pursue your own health, your own happiness, your own recovery, and a full and satisfying life in the community? What are some of those things that you are doing? This purposeful pursuit. What are some things that you are doing? And notice this too, that each individual's path will be different. we're all unique. We all have unique likes and interests and skills, and we're all unique. So each individual's path will be a bit different. Every aspect of wellness can affect a person's life, and here we look at some of these dimensions. Samsha has 8 dimensions of wellness, and every aspect of wellness can affect a person's life. So uh, there's a physical dimension of wellness. There's spiritual dimension of wellness. There's emotional, and we go and we talk about each one of these dimensions, and we look at each one of these dimensions, and we make them personal to us. Just like I said, each individual's path will be different, and so maybe someone is more higher on the scale of their physical dimension, right? Maybe they're eating right, maybe they're exercising, whereas somebody might not necessarily be eating right or exercising, and so there's different scales, right? Somebody can be more inclined with their physical dimension than someone else might be. And so every aspect of wellness we see can affect a person's life. And I like using an example of how looking at physical wellness can also help with my mental or emotional wellness. I like to go on walks right through the woods. And when I do that, I'm getting my exercise, but it's also helping my mind. I feel better when I go and walk in the nature. I go walking in the woods. So I'm not only benefiting me from my physical wellness, but I'm also helping with my mental and my emotional wellness. And so you see, every aspect of wellness can affect a person's life. Working toward all of them in one way or another is a great goal. It's a great goal because wellness relates directly to the quality of a person's life. How is the quality of your life? I think when we get more in tune by looking at these dimensions of wellness, we can really see how our quality of life can be enhanced. And so this guide here that we're looking at today, this guide offers a broad approach for things we can do. We can do these things. We can take steps. We can take actions in our life to enhance the quality of our life. And this guide here gives us a broad approach for the things that we can do at our own pace, right? We can do these things at our own pace in our own time with our own abilities that can help us feel better and live longer, live longer. And I think it's taking those first steps. You know, early on in recovery, um, I began to see that since I wasn't using alcohol or other substances to cope, since I'd taken that out of my life, I was on the recovery journey. I was practicing abstinence. I wasn't using any substances anymore. I found out that I was having some of these other problems, right? I was having uh, difficulties with my emotions, with the way I was thinking, and so I needed something to take the place of those old past coping mechanisms of substances that weren't working for me anymore, that I decided not to use anymore. And so I had this big hole, this big gap that I needed a way of dealing with life on life's terms. And I began uh, unknowingly practicing some of these wellness tools that we'll begin learning about here. That this guide here will open our mind to. Um, and there's things that I had to learn, and it was by doing it at my own pace, right? So instead of going right off, jumping right in, which sometimes we do, right? Sometimes we jump into the deep end, and that sometimes quite often doesn't work, right? But if we can go at our own pace, right? So if you're starting exercise, whatever it might be, if maybe you can just start by walking or doing something simple, right? Don't set yourself up to fail, but just do something small, right? I think as we go along, if we can just what they say, the best way to eat an elephant is one bite at a time. If we could just start off small here with some of these things by practicing wellness, maybe it's changing what you eat or exercise, or maybe it's pursuing of a goal like going back to school. If we can start off small, at our own pace and our own time with our own abilities, I think that can have a profound effect on our own wellness. It can help us feel better and live longer. And this is Samsha's vision here. Let's remember why one of the key reasons why we're looking at wellness is because of the Samsha's initiative here. They envision a future in which people with mental or substance use problems pursue health, happiness, recovery, and a full, satisfying life in the community. And so, recovery might start with, just not picking up any substances, but recovery is so much more than that. Recovery really is a holistic concept. It centers around the whole person, the whole person. And here's what Sancho's vision is really getting at here. Of people with mental and substance abuse problems pursue health, happiness, recovery, and a full, satisfying life in the community. Oh, what a great goal, right? And that's what we should all want: health, happiness, recovery, full, satisfying life, and the community. That's good. Who's this guy here? Hey, he looks familiar. Hey, this guy looks familiar here. Like I said, I told you I like to walk in the woods. There's me walking some in the woods. There's me probably driving to walk in the woods. Uh, those are some of the past trips I have taken there in the woods. And I like to do that. Honestly, if I can go for a walk in nature once or twice a week at least, I feel so much better. I feel so much better. I feel like I'm practicing some of those key concepts. I'm practicing those wellness tools, and and it has such a profound impact on my week. And so but I have to intentionally set aside that time to do those things. And what this wellness initiative teaches is that each individual path will be different. And so maybe there's things that you like to do for your wellness, and maybe there's some things that you're already doing. But each individual path will be different. Notice that this is for you. This is to be tailor made for you, right? We can all learn from each other. Maybe there's some ideas maybe there's some things that we all have in common. Maybe you too like to go and walk in the woods, and maybe that's something that you want to identify and address and say, yes, I would like to do that, more often. I think I need to set aside, more time in my week just to, whether it's to get alone, uh, however that might look for you. Maybe you want to go walk with a friend. Maybe that's practicing wellness for you. I often like just to go by myself, just to kind of have that downtime. But maybe that looks different for you. Each individual path will be a bit different. We're all unique, and so when we look at wellness, it really is to be tailor made to what you enjoy and what you feel will benefit your own wellness here. And so, this is me. Like I said, I like to. Uh, one of the things I like to do for wellness is I like to go for walks in the woods, find that peace, and just take that time out, practicing that pause. Practice that pause. Yes, and I put here at the very bottom hand corner: life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Notice that pursuit. We have to go after this thing. We have to go after our own wellness. We have to be intentional here, and that's why I think it's so good here in the middle of the week on Wednesdays, Wellness Wednesdays, right here in the middle of the week, to take this time out and be reminded we need to practice self care. We need to practice the pause. And I'm so glad that you're here and that you're joining me and you're taking a time out for yourself today. All right. Interdependence. What is interdependence? Well, first, let's look at this wellness wheel. Like I said, there's 8 dimensions of wellness. They're all interconnected. They're all interconnected here. 8 dimensions of wellness. What does interdependence mean? Have you ever heard that word, interdependent? What it simply means is that every aspect of wellness can affect a person's life. And so, like I used the example before of me walking in the woods, when I do that, I am practicing my physical wellness, right? I'm out there, I'm getting exercise, I'm moving my legs, I'm increasing my heart rate. There's a physical benefits of just getting out and walking, right? But also when I do that, like I said, I feel better, not only physically but mentally. It also helps my mind. And so you see here on this 8 dimensions of wellness, this what we call the wellness wheel. Everything's interconnected. They're interdependent. You see on here, you see physical. You see it down there, physical, and emotional is also connected on there as well. And so notice some of these other ones. How would me walking in the woods affect some of these other areas of this dimension, of this wellness wheel? How would me walking in the woods affect some of these other dimensions? All right. So when I walk in the woods, spiritual, right? I feel more connected with nature. I can oftentimes, I can practice some spiritual principles out there in the woods. I've done that before. I feel more connected. Uh, and prayer. I use prayer. And sometimes I'll stop on my walks. I see a tree. Not that I'm praying to the tree, but I'm praying and I'm taking that pause to pray. And so, me being out in the woods is physical, right? It's helping me physically, emotionally, it's clearing my mind. Spiritually, I feel more connected. Environmental, we see another dimension on there. Environmentally, well, there I am. I'm in nature. I'm in a perfect environment, I think. I like walking in the woods. There's streams there. I get to see, flowers, plant life, all this other stuff. And so I feel even more connected, even with the environment while I'm walking, right? We've already talked about emotional, intellectual, right? Maybe there's some things that, uh, maybe a book. I could take a book out there to read in nature. I've done that before. I've done that before. And we see another one on there is occupational. How does me walking in the woods, how could that affect my occupation, my job? Well, I think if I go out and if I walk in the woods, I'll be less stressed, which will also benefit my productivity there at work. You see how that's connected there? Social. I've talked about maybe inviting a friend, or maybe if me being less stressed can help my relationships, right? So I'll be less prone to snap and be angry, or how some of those things just happen when we're just too burdened, we feel so stressed. And so you see how all these things can interplay. They're interdependent. Financial. How can me walking in the woods help my financial? Are y'all seeing kind of how some of these things are connected here? Well, if I'm less stressed at work, how often does people get fired because then they snap off, they say something at their boss, whatever it is, right? And so occupational and financial, right? All these are all interdependent. And so, if I'm less stressed, I will be better employee, and then I can keep my job, which is finances, right? You got to have a job to be able to bring in the dough. And so you see how all these things are interconnected. And I think the more and more we look at these, more and more we'll start to see how all these are interconnected and interdependent. It's a wheel. Look at these like it's spokes on a wheel. You see it there? And they all need to be running smoothly, really, to be able to function, for us to function at our best here. And so, uh, hopefully now, by looking at this wheel, this wellness wheel, we've got a better understanding of what it means to be interdependent here. Interdependent. You heard that before. What it simply means is every aspect of wellness can affect a person's life. All right. Interdependent. We looked at this wellness wheel. Let's look at these again here, right quick. So we begin having a better understanding of what are these 8 dimensions. 8 dimensions. Emotional is one of them. Intellectual is another. Occupational, social, financial, physical, spiritual, and environmental. And SAMHSA's wellness initiative says that working towards all of them in one way or another is a great goal because wellness relates directly to the quality of a person's life, the quality of your life. If we work on all these things, the quality of our life will be enhanced. And so this guide offers a broad approach for things we can do at our own pace, in our own time, and within our own abilities that can help us feel better and live longer. And so, by looking at these 8 dimensions, we'll be able to enhance our quality of life. That's the goal, the quality of life. And here at the Recovery Center, that's what we want to do as well for the people who come in and they speak with us. We want to come alongside of them to help support, and we want to bring wellness to our community. That's part of our being there as R3 Recovery Center, is to bring wellness to our community. We do that with these one-on-one, often these one-on-one personal interactions that we have with others. And this is a goal, and this is a goal that we want to see. This is what SAMHSA's initiative is. This envisions this future, of people with mental or substance use problems pursuing health, happiness, recovery, and a full, satisfying life in the community. And so this is a great goal, is to work towards all these dimensions because it does it directly affects the quality of a person's life. And if we seek these things, it can enhance the quality of life. And wellness is so exciting to learn, and when you actually see it being implemented in your life, when we start taking the actions to enhance our own wellness. And so here is the what and when. We do this on our own pace. Like I said, each person's wellness is going to look different because we're all unique, and we can set it at our own pace, at our own time, and within our own abilities. And so, maybe as we've been talking today, maybe there's some things that you might want to change, that you might want to implement, some small steps that you just want to set down. And we've talked about in the past how important it is to write it down. I think I've heard that if you write it down, you're 60 to 70, 75% more likely to do it than if you're just to think about it. There's something about writing it down that helps us to bring it to reality, to bring it to come to pass here, and write it down. Write it down. If you have some ideas today, make sure you write them down of what you want to do to enhance your quality of life and wellness. Maybe one of those things that you want to do is you write down practicing the pause each week, every Wednesday from 2 to 3 with Phil. Maybe it'll be a good reminder for us all to put this as a priority. But we all want to do this on our own pace, in our own time, within our own abilities. And it can help us feel better and live longer. So what is wellness? What is wellness? We've been talking about. I've been trying to share a little bit about it as we've moved along here with these courses each week. What is wellness? Broadly defined, it's being healthy in many dimensions of our lives. It's how we live our lives and the joy and fulfillment and health we experience. One way I like to look at it that I've shared in the past, it's almost like that Army slogan, right? Be all that you can be. It talks about your potential and about the person you are becoming. What's so good about us is we don't have to stay stagnant. We're not static. We don't have to stay at the same spot. We don't have to stay stuck, but we can change. We can continually look at the things that we want to improve about ourselves. I saw this great quote the other day that unhappy people are always looking at other folks, what other folks are doing wrong, and always judging other people. But happy folks are the ones who's constantly examining their own lives and saying, how can I improve the quality of my own life? What can I do to better myself? That's really wellness in a nutshell. What can I do to better myself? Maybe it's going back to school or pursuing some other goal or plan, or maybe it's just eating right or exercising. Happy people are looking at their own self. And I think when we look at our own quality of life, we're not stuck in looking at what everybody else is doing. We're trying to improve our own quality. And that's really that pursuit of happiness there. We can intentionally go after and pursue wellness to seek these things, and that's Samsa's vision there. A future in which people with mental or substance use problems pursue health, happiness, recovery, and a full, satisfying life in the community. And here, for practicing the pause, all I want to do is eat. What does eat? It stands for something. Education, awareness, and tools. I want to share what I'm learning here with you all. We can all get ideas and learn together. Awareness. If we can bring these things to awareness, like practicing our breathing together. And if there's some tools that I can share along the way, things that we're all picking up with each other. Things that we're doing to practicing wellness. I think we're all going to be much better for it. We can help each other out in that way. So wellness in a nutshell is becoming uh, who your potential there. And I've shared that before. Maybe you've heard that comment before. Somebody have said to you in the past, or whatever it might be, that they like the person you are becoming. The person you are becoming. Like I said, we don't have to stay static or stuck. We can continually be growing as individuals, the people that we want to become. So good. Wellness helps us to do that. Wellness helps us to do that. And it helps to look at each of these dimensions here in this wellness wheel: emotional, environmental, intellectual, physical, occupational, spiritual, social, financial. And so emotional, let's look at each one of these individual uh, dimensions here. Emotional is coping effectively with life and creating satisfying relationships. Coping effectively with life and creating satisfying relationships. How are you doing on the emotional dimension? Just by looking at that definition. And we'll look more into these as we go along. Financial is satisfaction with current and future financial situations. How are you doing in your financial dimension? Satisfaction with current and future financial situations. Social dimension is developing a sense of connection, belonging, and a well developed support system. How are you doing with your social dimension? Do you have that well developed support system? Do you have the sense of connection and belonging? How are you doing in the social dimension? Spiritual dimension is expanding our sense of purpose and meaning in life. What does your spiritual dimension look like? Are you expanding your sense of purpose and meaning in life? Occupational dimension looks at personal satisfaction and enrichment derived from one's work. Are you satisfied with the work that you're doing? Do you feel this enrichment derived from your work? That's your occupational dimension. Physical dimension is recognizing the need for physical activity, diet, sleep, and nutrition. How are you doing with your physical dimension? Are you exercising? Are you eating right? How's your sleeping? How does that look? What about your nutrition? That's your physical dimension. Intellectual dimension is recognizing creative abilities and finding ways to expand knowledge and skills. So, are you a learner? Are you constantly learning new things, whether it be abilities? Maybe you're picking up a new hobby. You're learning a hobby. Maybe you are going and you're reading about a new book, or you're reading a new book, or you're reading upon a subject that you want to learn. This is your intellectual dimension. You're recognizing creative abilities and finding ways to expand knowledge and skills. Your environmental dimension is good health by occupying pleasant, stimulating environments that support well being. And I've shared about that in the past too. Even my office, right? Uh, I've got special lighting in there that I like to use. Uh, I'll even have one of those lavender candles, and it's not because I just like candles, but I like the purpose that it's used for. Right, lavender can help calm you down and bring relaxation and all that. And those are just some of the things that I have there in my office. Well, how are you creating your environment? What does your environment look like? That's your environmental dimension. Good health by occupying pleasant, stimulating environments that support well being. All right. So, those are the 8 dimensions of wellness, what we call this wellness wheel. And it all needs to run smoothly there for us to function at our highest capacity there to become the person we want to be. We look at all these dimensions here, this wellness wheel. Like I said, it's interconnected. Uh, these dimensions are interconnected, one dimension building on another, interconnected. So here's an example, right? If I'm worried about money, anybody out there worried about your finances, worried about money, that's your financial dimension, right? Emotional, worry, you're worried about your money, your financial, which can lead to anxiety, which is emotional. Anxiety can lead to medical problems. It's your physical. If you're having physical problems, it can affect your work. You start having trouble at work. That's your occupational dimension. And then if you're out of work, you're laying around, you're depressed, all that. Then maybe you start questioning about your meaning and your purpose. That's your spiritual dimension. And so, since you're not working, you don't have those folks around you. You're not having those connections. And so that affects your social. Uh, and then, since you're not working, that can lead to no food in the fridge and cabinets, which can also affect you not having medicines that you need, and so that can affect your physical dimension, which affects maybe your housing, right? If you don't have the money coming in, you're not paying your rent. Landlord comes, knocks on your door, and say, "Hey, you got to get out of here." That affects your living situation, which is your environmental. So you see how just by worrying about finances, you see how all those can be connected there. It's like this slippery slope, right? It's just downhill, And so all these dimensions are connected. We might not see it. Might not see the big picture all at first, and that's why I think us studying wellness and looking at these things it really help us to get this perspective. That hey, each one of these are critical. We need to practice the pause and look at these and really see where we're at. Really see where they're at. So, do you see how some of these are interconnected? Do you see kind of how all these are aligned and interdependent on one another? I hope that is giving you this bigger picture here to how it all works, and that's why I really love this about wellness is because it really opens up our minds to looking at these things, and one of the key aspects of this is to create balance. That's an important part of wellness is to create balance. We live in this multicultural world, and wellness encompasses areas that may not be specified in this brief discussion. We believe, for example, that trauma is a universal human experience, and that our culture and spiritual beliefs impact our perceptions and everything we do. In summary, wellness is about how we live our lives and the joy and fulfillment and health we experience. And so we looked at that example there about worrying and how it's all interdependent. But so one of the key aspects, really, what we want to be looking at here with wellness is creating balance. Do you have this balance in your life? And that's why every Wednesday I try to invite folks to come in and to practice this pause, because it is about creating balance. We can't always be going, going, going. We're not human doings, we're human beings. And so I think we need to be reminded about coming back and finding this the state of being where we can find balance, where we can create balance. It's an important part of wellness. Creating balance in our lives is an important part of wellness. Overall, a balanced life can mean many things depending on culture, circumstances, resources, and other factors. Balance means making sure we have time to do the things that makes us feel happy and fulfilled. Are you making sure that you have the time to do the things that make you feel happy and fulfilled? Well, like I said, it's intentionality. We have to have intentionality when it comes to wellness. This can include working, paid or unpaid. What are you doing for work? This can be having fun. It can be spending time with family and friends. It can be participating in the community, being physically active. Uh, it can be practicing spirituality, relaxing and sleeping. Uh, Balance is making sure that we find the time to do the things that makes us feel happy and fulfilled. Are you finding the time? That's why in the past I've posted on Facebook about creating this time out. We've got to take the time to do the things that makes us feel happy and fulfilled. Nobody's going to come along and do it for you. Now our bodies might. We can get to the point where our bodies just physically just burn out. You might have heard that word before. Folks experiencing burnout. That's because so often they're out of balance, and they stayed in that motion for so long, and their body was the one that gave them the signal and said enough is enough, time out, and it physically shut down. So that uh, 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 the folks were forced to take that time out. And so I don't want us to get into that way of being, right? This is about prevention, not treatment. We can prevent some of these health concerns. A lot of times people let their stress go so far down where it creates strokes and heart attacks and all that. And so wellness is really about prevention. It's about seeing what we can do here and now in the present. What changes can we make here and now to prevent some of those things that can happen if we don't practice the pause and self care. Notice that this is unique. Wellness is unique. It's unique to each one of us because we each have individual needs, preferences, and capabilities. And so, what we consider balance will also look different. And it's important for us to rebalance from time to time. And that's why I love that Practice the Pause is in the middle of the week on Wellness Wednesdays. It's important for us to rebalance from time to time and to adjust what's going on in our lives. Uh, you can take a look at your habits and routines. How are you managing your habits and your routines? When we're trying to get through a tough time, whether it's stress and illness, trauma, or an emotional challenge, balance is especially important. In these times, our habits and routines can help us to get feeling of control back. And so, do you have a routine? Do you have, let's say, a daily uh, eating routine? I know it's hard a lot of times when we got schedules. It depends on what you got going on. But if we can have some type of routine, I think that can help us with balance. And we'll have to be disciplined with some of those. So we intentionally create that time. So you want to create that time for self care. You might want to create a time for eating, whether it's breakfast, lunch, dinner, that you stay on those. And when we're going through a tough time, it's especially important to have a routine. Maybe you just experienced a death or some type of trauma or stress or illness, whatever it might be. If you can have these uh, habits and routines, if you can manage those, it can help you to have this feeling of getting control back. That can help. Focus and self awareness. Uh, Focusing on ourselves as well as the roles we play in the lives of others, like being students, friends, parents, spouses, co workers, congregants, hobbyists, community members, and citizens. If we can focus on ourselves and the roles that we play, and we can bring self awareness, that's also important. We can focus on who we are, uh, and what roles do we play in the lives of others. Self awareness. Our roles and relationships help define who we are, what gives us a sense of purpose, and how our lives are interdependent on people, animals, and an environment. It's neat when we stop and look and see that, we can't do these things on our own, that we need other folks to come alongside of us. And how good it is if we can become our best self, if we can practice these things. We're not only where we're going to affect all the relationships around us, but we're also going to affect, the way that we live and play and work, all those things, our roles and relationships, our level of engagement. Being engaged in life and relationships provides a measure of balance and overall wellness. And so I think, by practicing these wellness tools, we'll be more engaged in the life and the relationships that we have all around us, because we're bringing balance. What I've learned too is I've been doing a lot of reading on trauma. And, let's say you're a parent. If you can bring that stability, that safety, and that security when, traumatic events going on, we just had COVID for 2020. If you can be that stabilizing force, your children are looking up to you. And if you can bring that sense of calm and control, and I think mindfulness and these wellness tools that we learn here will help you to do that. And it can affect uh, all the people's lives around us. And so I think that's enough for today. Hopefully, that you're starting to understand a little bit more about wellness, that you're excited to learn more about wellness, and that you will begin to intentionally set aside time that you can practice the pause. And I hope that you'll do that each week here, uh, that we can do this together, that we can be reminded to take that pause that we so desperately need to bring wellness to our lives and even wellness to the lives of others by practicing these things. Maybe you've got some questions. You're looking for some help too. If we can be of help and an assistance to you, uh, we are there at the R3 Recovery Center, and we are practicing these wellness tools. We try to be mindful of these things and follow what Samsha has laid out, these 8 dimensions. And we try to learn about these dimensions as we go along. And I know I said that I had an exercise that we could do. We'll get to that next time. So make sure that you got a pen and a paper next time, and we'll review some of these things and continue to move forward on learning about wellness and how we can apply it to our lives. Again, I thank you for watching and for you to be here. And if you got any questions, feel free to call us, write us. There you can email me at pboyce at wilkesrecoveryrevolution.com. You can write us. You can message us there on Facebook. Let us know. Maybe you've got some questions, comments. We'd love to hear from you. And if you would like to come and sit down with one of our peer support specialists, maybe you have some of these challenges that we discussed, whether it be substance abuse or mental health challenges, that you can come and we'll try to help you out, and we'll come alongside you there and support you on this recovery journey. So thanks again for tuning in, and look forward to seeing you next week. Bye bye.